Hello, everyone, and welcome to Authentic Journeys, the podcast where we dive into the depths of self discovery, vulnerability, and healing with a spirit of adventure and playfulness. Here I have my guest, Ross Standaloft.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm just going to say the great things that you already done, which I also researched.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So, with his longtime friend Leon, created the 20 T's rap and hip hop band from London, co-created the co-creator of the Hide, an arts, health, and healing retreat center in Portugal, founding director of Green Tiger Sustainability, a consultancy firm aiming to create a more sustainable built environment.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Wow. Do you know, I've done a few podcasts with music, but I've never had anyone introduce all the things I do, you know? Like, this is super nice.
Yeah, great. And yeah, like this chapter, let's say the first podcast that we're gonna do, the first episodes, I aim to talk, just to like have a conversation about the topic of passion.
Nice.
Yeah, what's driving you, for example, with this curriculum? Let's say there, yeah, like it sounds that there is passion involved or drive or some sort. Yeah, how do you feel with all these things that you've done?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, there's definitely drive. And I think we've talked about some of this here at El Wega, me and you, and you know where this drive comes from, and like some of it's unhealthy, some of it's super healthy and useful. And yeah, I'm sort of navigating this at the minute because there's a lot changing in my life at the minute with these different projects that I've got.
Right, it's like a 360 or
So really, yeah,
at least 180.
Yeah, it is.
Or
yeah,
275.
it's at least 278, I'd say. Yeah, it's quite a spin round, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, because my consultancy, Green Tiger, and the band, Too Many T's, these are both like mature projects, you know, they're like 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hide is like 7 years or 8 years, you know. So it's been a long time doing this trifecta of work projects, you know, that are passion led and also money led and this internal drive led just to get excited about something and go for it, you know.
Yeah. And what do you feel is like because they seem kind of different or in different areas, right? But what do you feel that it like unites them, like they have in common, these three projects?
I think like some like meaning, you know, some like kind of doing something that's worthwhile, you know. Like I don't think I'd see myself as like a banker or something, you know,
Right.
that feels like it's detracting. You know, like I got into sustainability because well, actually, it was because I hated my my original course. I did like business in property,
Okay.
like as a degree. And
Yeah.
it was so boring, man. And this was like I was changing my whole mindset on. I did this degree because I thought I'd make money, you know.
Right.
And this is all I wanted when I was 18.
Yeah.
I wanted a fancy car, and you know. And then I think about a year or two in, I was just like, I don't care about this at all. You know, this is so boring, like numbers and value and things. But we did some like building modules, you know. And then I was like, oh, the building modules were really interesting. I was like, wow, this is practical. And I started like shaping my like I guess my politics or my view of the world of like shit. We need to like save this place because it's all going in a bad direction, you know. So that's why the sustainability on buildings. I was like, maybe I can do that because I've done this degree,
right,
and I don't like it, but I like this aspect of it. So then, like, I did a master's in sustainability to kind of in buildings, and it was kind of like polishing a turd, we say in English, where making the best out of a bad situation. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was the reason for that. It's like, I want to do something good and I want to contribute. Yeah, so that was that reason to get into that field.
I have a story also about banking. You know, you said you were not wanting to be a banker. I actually I also didn't want to be a banker. I went to industrial engineering school because of my dad, and he wanted me to go, but I hated it. So I ended up quitting after 4 years.
Okay.
But then I left backpacking and I traveled all South America, and then we kind of started this community that we are right now.
Yeah.
And I went back to visit my family, and I ended up like staying longer than I would.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I could get a job, to get some money.
Yeah.
So this friend that is a banker was like, so yeah, at my place they are like looking for someone that is like, not that much responsibility, job, whatever.
Yeah.
So I went there, and I was just like talking with this HR person about my travels and how it was and all the things I found out about, and she's like, I don't think this job is for you.
She called it.
Yeah. Like, I think you will hate it.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. And I didn't get it, but I think it was also very lucky.
That's it. Yeah, I think you need to be like kind of blind to a lot of things going on in the world, and like be really subscribed to this, like our society's perception of GDP rules all. Like that's the metric, eh?
Yeah.
Like, that's what society. Yeah.
And at some point, I get it in the sense that, like, also when we see like these different lines, like families are going back into generations, right? And we see that there was like a lot of poverty like in the grandparents, so like they had this aim because that was for them the way out, so that's where they focus, and they sent the message through the generations, and we got it. But now it's like, okay, now that we have it, okay, now that we don't need to go ask for a bread or something. Okay, it's like, okay, what else? And it's like we're lucky, we're very also privileged.
Yeah, massively.
To be able to ask these questions.
Massively, yeah, definitely, yeah. And it feels like there's definitely a lot of struggle in like ancestrally, like and this has come up before,
Yeah,
man. But yeah, never been drawn to be a banker.
Okay. So sorry, Joe, that's my friend.
You didn't take the job?
No, I didn't take it. I didn't take it. They didn't give it to me. I don't know what happened. Definitely, I didn't have my hair cut.
Right. Okay. Wow. Especially.
And I regret it.
Yeah. It'd have been a lot longer now.
It was long. Yeah, exactly.
It'd have been down to your ass now.
Yeah, but it was okay. It was. I saw that was not what I wanted, and then I went back to the community and.
I think I've heard quite a few stories, and I've actually got one friend who's like in that world of finance, and this kind of like, just this preoccupation around, if I get more money, then I'm going to be happier, and get stuck in that trap. And there seems to be more, I think it's with this like collective awakening that's slowly creeping in, So I truly believe that there's a lot of people going, oh, actually, like, I can stop doing this now, and I could buy a piece of land in wherever, and look at myself and set something up. So it seems to be a lot of people running from these places,
Yeah, I feel also that with all this information that we have now, we can see that that's not the source of happiness. That we can see the millionaires that are suffering.
Yeah.
I don't know. They don't have families, or it's all broken up, or
people still think it though, right? It's deeply entrenched, like in us, like this, like, and it's still in me, and I like I've seen like so many different ways to live, and I know, and I still see it in myself. I could do this project, and I could get this little money gremlin comes out,
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
Yeah, but I really, what really hit hard about this, the money thing was that study that came out. I think it was about 10 years ago now. That like it was like a massive study, 20,000 people, and like the conclusion was beyond like $75,000 or something a year, you can't get any happier from money, which is just an amazing study. It's like you can fulfill like all your needs of like security and food and socializing and whatever. But beyond that, like there's nothing more that you can derive
there's
from
no other point to reach.
Let's say. Which is super interesting. Yeah. So I with I was polishing the turd with that first career.
And then, so like in order of events, like which one that was coming first? Like
yeah. So that was my career out
right.
of uni, and then I worked privately for someone for like 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then and I was always making music at this point, but just for me, just for myself, you know, just on the side as a pastime. And then I got into. I was working 3 years in sustainable consultancy, and then I was like, I can do this myself, you know. Like I was like, I think at this point, this was like the kind of not conclusion, but like the first ending of my anxiety story, which kind of started when I was 18, with like really really severe anxiety, and like it was around sort of 2021 when I sort of worked out how to accept and get better, you know. And it wasn't until I was about 25 when I was working in this consultancy that I was like, oh wow, like I think I feel all right. I think I feel all right enough to not be so scared of life, you know. And so that was the point when I was like, I can do this myself. I don't want to be sat in an office, you know, working for someone else. And I took, there was one client that I always worked with.
Yeah.
So like I don't think anyone else in the company. There was about 10 of us in this company. I don't think anyone else had worked with this client, and I just really got on with them. And I was just in a meeting one day with them, and I'd had these ideas about like I could have set this up myself, and I'd started doing the music more by this point. I was like, I think I'll just do more gigs around the country and just have this real like, for the first time ever, this vision of freedom. You know, like I can do what I want. I don't need to be sat in this office. Even though like as far as offices go, it was really nice. Like there was nice people and it was a nice company, but I was like,
still a cage.
Still a cage. Yeah.
Sorry, the EP came out.
Yeah. Dude, I was like on Google Maps, like walking around Thailand and Vietnam on Google Maps, thinking like I want to be here. You know, I don't want to be anywhere else. And I was in a meeting with this client, and I was just like, if I left this company, would you like? Could I just still be your consultant? You know? I was like, this 25-year-old like kid, and this guy. I think he really liked me. This like the managing director, this like these developers, and he was like, would it be cheaper? I was like, it'll be a bit cheaper. He was like, yeah. And so like, we just started the band at this point as well. And like I said, this was all around this point where like I felt well enough to like actually just live life a bit and not in this like really consistent fear, you know. And so like so for the first time there was like this optimism that stuff could happen, you know. And so I just like within a few months like we started doing gigs with the bands. The first time I'd ever played music was around 25, 26. I'd never played live before, you know.
Big.
Yeah.
Another 360.
Yeah, so it also happened at the same time, and then I was like, wow, I can take this one client, and maybe that would be enough for just to like pay some bills, you know. And then I just did it, and I just like left, and like just had this like one client, and then me and Leon that I make music with, we like I think we'd probably done about 10 gigs in like different pubs and stuff at this point.
Yeah.
And like and we were just like, man, let's just go on the road. So just like we just got in this van and we just played like every open mic or pub for like £20, you know, anything. And at the end of the gigs we were like, can anyone give us somewhere to stay? Like, you know, on the mic, like, and then people would just put us up in their house, you know. And so I worked like remotely with this one client, and then we were just on the road in this van, just, you know, we were like partying a lot and like having a crazy time, and 6 months we stayed in that van and just traveled around the country, just like doing all these gigs, any open mic, anything, get everyone's email address after the show, like one by one, and then send them a picture the next day with like, thanks for coming to the show, you know, just to some little open mic, like directs them to our
that's all
Facebook
very
page.
also technical, right? Like you were not a pro since the beginning.
Awesome. It was just like, if we're gonna do this, let's do this, and like Yeah, it was like I've like left my career to do this, you know, like
Right,
like which I like
right.
you
It
know,
sounds from afar, right? When you say it's like, oh yeah, things happen, right? But at that point, it must have looked also like, whoa,
yeah,
what's gonna happen with my future, right?
yeah, man. I was like living in London. Yeah, I'd done this like 2 degrees and got into this really good company, and I was being paid a lot of money, you know. And I left my like really comfy salary to get in a van and play, you know, some random pub in Leeds for 50 quid, you know, and like yeah. So it was a big jump, you know. It was like it was a real big jump, but it was all based around this like passion for life and what could be, you know, like this like wow. There's like I feel well enough now because I never felt that either. So that was kind of like a big catalyst.
Yeah, and it's crazy how this anxiety that you talked about, and we spoke about it a lot, like off mic, let's say.
Yeah.
But also, it feels almost like empowering to go like further, you know, because someone that doesn't have this anxiety, maybe he stays in the office.
Yeah.
You know, it's like this anxiety also creates like questions. You know,
Yeah.
like I can get that it's suffering, like it's painful, but at the same time, I see that you've gone such a long way, and it can be seen as okay. So the anxiety is low enough that I can explore, or the anxiety was also like some fueling
Yeah.
to the engine.
Yeah, without that, man. Yeah, I think feeling like discovery, you know, feeling like yeah. I think without the anxiety, I wouldn't have got into sustainability and cared, you know. I'd have been too preoccupied with the money still or with whatever. You know?
Exactly. There's not that much of this questioning, right?
Yeah.
It's like, is this it? Is
Is
it good? Is it all that I can do for everyone, for the world, for myself?
Yeah.
And I see, a lot of like drive and strength there also, you know, like bravery.
Yeah, and a lot of searching. Yeah, I think it really. Yeah, in those first 2 years, you know, it was like this anxiety kind of came out of nowhere. In a way, like it was just this sudden uprising, and there was no language for it at the time either. Yeah. There was like no social media, and I couldn't like place what it was, and I just thought I was going mad, you know. And we spoke about like this doctor.
We smoked about it. Oh, we spoke about
it. We smoked about it. Yeah, I went to this doctor, and like he you know, I'd been smoking like cannabis as a teenager, and this doctor was like triggered because his son had been, you know, in retrospect, I realized what had happened. His son had been smoking cannabis, so he was triggered by me coming into his office saying, "I've got this like feeling of like dread," and he's like, "Well, you've been smoking cannabis. You're probably going mad." That's what he said to me, you know.
Yeah.
And that was the start of this like super long process of anxiety that could have been it could have been dialed down in that one meeting with this doctor with some reassurance, you know, and some help. Like he didn't offer me any help either. It was just like you could be going mad, and you know, in hindsight, he was trying to.
He's a physician. He's not even like a psychologist.
No, he's just a GP. Like you know, it's the general guy, but he's annoyed that his son's been smoking weed, and then he's like projected all his crap
case on patient. Doctor projection.
Yeah, and then projected it onto me. Didn't offer me any help, but he was trying to. I think in his head he was like, "I need to scare this kid into stopping."
Yeah.
Which is like just real bad doctoring, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's real bad doctoring, though.
It might be some good doctoring, but really bad psychologists.
Yeah.
Doctors okay, but
because he didn't, you know, like in this, the word anxiety didn't even come up. You know, it didn't even like. So yeah, man. So I spent like first 2 years. I was just going to university at the time. That first 2 years, I spent like just thinking I was gone mad because I felt like it, and this doctor told me that I might be. You know. Yeah. So like. That's all I had. That's all I had, man. And and so I was researching. I was doing more research on mental health conditions, like serious mental health conditions, schizophrenia, and like, you know, different types of personality disorders and stuff, than I was on my university work way more, you know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and like, and
we all know how also this research goes, right? It's like I have something in my food, and Google tells you
Yeah.
it's cancer, right?
yeah.
And Google wasn't there for you, but
No,
I guess it was the same result as well, right?
Yeah. That's it. I think that, you know, there was like Google, and there was some of these health sites at the time.
Okay.
I think we're like 2007 at this point. Or something.
Okay,
So
okay.
there was some of that, but there was no like social media with people talking about anxiety in like in quite a casual way. You know, it was more like research papers. And so like, but because I thought it was going mad, because obviously I came across anxiety, but I was like, it's not this.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's not anxiety or depression, because they're low key compared to how I feel, you know? And I was just convinced that there was like something deeply wrong with me, and I just didn't speak to anyone about it, because I couldn't speak to anyone about it because they might say that I'm mad and take me away, you know? Because that's how I felt. So like,
the doctor already said it. So
yeah, exactly. So it was like, so I can't speak to anyone. So it's just this really, really lonely journey of like of searching, you know, and like, yeah, and in this time, like I started doing like yoga and meditation. I was going to like the local Buddhist center when I was like 20. So I was like super young, going to this like place just to try and get some respite, some peace, you know. Like, so I think, you know, it led me into this world really young, and I started doing yoga, and I can't say that I really felt much relief from it at the time, because I was so in the red with this anxiety. It was so all encompassing that like it didn't help straight away, but it led me into this world, you know, and like opened this door of spirituality that I otherwise would have never even come across. You know? Like, I don't think, because I never had this growing up.
And that's connected also with this retreat center in Portugal, like this kind of knowledge with spirituality, and or how does this come also into the picture?
yeah. So yeah, that came about. It was not, the intention was never for, so the Hide, it's called, right? So it's a small retreat center in Portugal, and like it was more for the music and the arts.
All right.
And that's how it started. So yeah, me and my like main business partner, it was when I was around 29 or something. We were at a party, and my band was playing at his warehouse party. And this guy like he rented this warehouse, and he built like all individual rooms in this warehouse, and it was all like different artists that stayed in these warehouses. And they used to just throw the sickest parties. Like, they had this like huge like triple high area in the middle, the communal area, you know, and they just like build a stage, and you could fit about 300 people in this like person's house, you know, like there. And there was like 16 of them living there, you know. And so yeah, we used to go play at these big parties, and and I got into a conversation with the guy that built these warehouses, and we really got on at the time at these parties, and I was like, I've been saving some money from my business, and he had this idea that he wanted to have the same thing with all these different artists, but somewhere in nature where everyone could go. And I was like, man, I've been like, that's what all I've been craving, you know, like somewhere away, but I've got nowhere enough money on my own. And he's like, well, I've got a bit of money, like maybe we can put it together. And we sort of formulated, and this is like pretty like high at about 3 a.m.
That's where all the best plans come up.
At this warehouse party, you know, like and we were looking on his phone. First, he got this like article out in the Guardian, this like British paper about these like villages in Galicia, northern Spain, these abandoned villages that you can buy for like 40,000 euros, you know. Yeah. I think you guys know about this, right?
We're looking for some Asturias.
Yeah. Asturias and Galicia is such a good place, I think, as well. Like, so we were like, I was just like, wow, and then we were like looking online and like in this party, and then the next day I was just like, oh god, I just remember this conversation. I was like, man, like, I'm gonna call it. Like, I'm gonna follow through on this, because this is a good idea, you know. And I just rang him. I was like, are you serious about like maybe doing something? And he's like, yeah. So like, in the next month we booked a flight to Santiago. in Galicia, and we went looking at like 15 properties, you know,
Oh,
like,
wow.
and just like went around and looked at a load of stuff, and like nothing kind of like really grabbed us. And then we booked another trip, but we couldn't get flights into Santiago, so we got flights into Porto, and we thought we'll drive up, and then we were like, let's look in Portugal, see if we'll be driving through. And we booked like 3 viewings in Portugal, and the rest, another 10 in Galicia, because we had our eye on this place, you know.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that we found in Portugal was like, oh wow, we were like, yes, this is hitting the list. Like no neighbors, really cool site. There's like water on site.
Nice.
Yeah, like more buildings, but it was a bit too expensive for what we wanted. So we got some friends involved, and we ended up buying this. And the plan was like this artist retreat.
Right.
You know? People sublet their room in London or European city for 1 month, go to this place and just do their artistic projects with 10 other people doing their projects, you know, just somewhere away from the noise.
Nice.
So this was the plan, and then many we could do a whole podcast about this project, but there was so many problems. Like we almost finished it. The first building ran out of money, had a forest fire, burnt down the entire valley that we bought and 2 of the buildings.
Wow.
Waited 2 years for insurance money and finally got some. Restarted and then run out of money, more problems with builders. Like one builder ran away on the job with some of our money, and then it got to COVID, and then it was COVID, and we were like, oh man, we're like 90% finished with this first building, and it's COVID now. Like, is anyone even gonna go? You know? And we kind of resigned to like maybe we should sell it, and then we got it valued, and we were gonna sell it, and then I went and lived there in like the lockdown.
Right.
And this was when my life was really changing to be more conscious and more like slower. I'd really kind of felt like I really overcome a lot of my anxiety at this point, and I went and lived there in the lockdown, and it was like the first time all the pressure was off, you know. We weren't doing any gigging with the band. There was like the world had just stopped, and I really, really, really felt that like lack of pressure. Like it was like the best medicine ever for me. Like at that time, you know. I know that like this time was super difficult for a lot of people, but at that time we were just about to start another festival season, and you know, in the UK,
moving around.
Moving around, and then all of a sudden it was stopped, and I just went to the house in Portugal, and there was no one there, and Leon came, my bandmate, you know, and then 2 of my friends came. One was a chef, so it was like amazing food, and we just chilled and just everything decompressed. And then and like after those few months, I was like, we're not selling this place. Like we cannot sell this place, you know.
Right. You started like a relationship with the place, right?
Yeah.
Living there.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people also came to this conclusion with COVID that it's like we need to get out of the apartment, and that cage really felt smaller, you know. For a lot, I have a friend that he was there with his 2 kids in a really small apartment in Buenos Aires. He was like, "What are we doing now?" He bought like a place outside the city, and a lot of people also kind of had that click, you know, like, wow, you don't know you miss nature until you're not allowed to go to a park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's massive migration, right? Like out of the status quo and out of the city.
And at that time is also when we bought the land here.
Wow!
It was the first day of COVID, like when they were shutting down everything here in Colombia. That day was it that one of the guys in the community, like he was looking in his motorcycle for lands and talking with people, with neighbors and everything. And
this is COVID had started at this
COVID
point?
hit that day that they found this place.
Wow!
And we were like, whoa, okay. So we have no visitors, no people coming for the retreats in the place we were renting. What are we gonna do? Should we like stop everything and try to wait it out?
Yeah.
Or go all the way, buy this land
Yeah.
and see what happens, you know.
Ah,
And it was, and several of us then came here to the land to see it and took the pictures and stayed the night and like it's just. I was with my newborn baby, so I didn't come to
wow.
see it.
Yeah.
But I saw the pictures of the sunrise with the clouds under the mountains, and it was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And we all decided that yeah, okay, let's go. Let's just double down the energy
Yeah.
into this land.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we actually had no money, but we
yeah.
we signed the contract
Wow.
saying like okay, in the next 6 months we're gonna pay full.
Yeah.
And we had no money at the moment, and we did a crowdfunding.
Right.
And like it's nice also we are 30 people, so everyone has their contacts there.
Yeah, it's a big reach, right?
Exactly, and people from Europe, from America, different places. So yeah, in the end, in 3 months we were able to, to get everything
from the crowdfund.
Yeah, from the crowdfunding.
And you were like offering like treatments and doors in this crowdfunding.
In the crowdfunding, we were offering doors if like they reached to certain amount, and then also like visiting weeks or a week of visiting here, and also for every donation, whatever the amount, we will also plant a tree. That we already planted like 2,080 trees here in the mountain in front of us.
Wow, amazing.
So and like, we also were into this. That we want to protect this place, to take care of the water, take care of the forest. So when we bought it, it was all for the cows. It was all, how do you call that? Farmland. Yeah. And now it's crazy how the trees have grown in like 3 years. Yeah. These are all baby trees that's just like sprouted and it's like the very young forest coming back.
Comes back with force.
Yeah, for sure. And now the birds are coming more, and someone saw some sloths, or I saw here just like 20 meters from here titi monkeys that couldn't come because there were no trees now.
We saw some when I walked down to the river.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
They have new routes and they can like visit us and
yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, I'm seeing this in Portugal after the fire. Like it was just on our land. It was like it's like a little mini valley, and on the sides of the hills all around the land in the middle. It's like flat land in the middle, and like the trees around it. Nice. We're just all like, it was like a 15-year-old pine forest. Okay. And it was all pine, and like in Portugal's got a really big problem with the kind of monoculture of their trees, especially in the centre, because it's the place where they make all the bog roll. The bog roll? The toilet roll. Oh! That you wipe your ass with. Yeah. It's like the Europe centre of toilet roll production. Portugal, yeah. Wow. And like, so it's just like, and they sell a lot of timber as well. They use pine for timber as well, but like, it's all eucalyptus and pine, and it all gets made into paper and toilet paper. Yeah, and so they've just like taken all these, the cork oak was like a really common, beautiful, fire-resistant tree, that was all around the area, and all these got taken out and sold, and all the cork taken down for these fast-growing like crops like pine and eucalyptus. So it
takes a lot of water, the pine.
Oh my god, yeah, and the eucalyptus as well, and the eucalyptus is like, it's got oil in it, It's like literally like burns.
The pine as well, right? It has like this resin.
And pine burns. So like, it's really common now in Portugal, especially in the centre, as we're getting these like hotter months. Just anything sets it off, and there's these huge forest fires in the end, and that came through, and it's like, but now it's like 4 years later, I'm seeing it like this, like this rebirth, and this different ecosystem coming in, like the birds are back. We planted a lot of different trees, a lot of native trees, and like and like it's coming back new, and it comes back so quickly, like with so much force, It's
crazy, Here as well, in the rainy season, the plants grow so fast. You can clear a path, and in 1 week it's completely blocked. Right. Wow. It's incredible. Yeah. Sometimes it's annoying, but at the same time, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's probably a lot quicker because it's really consistent, right? The weather here. I think where we are, it's like it rains a lot in
Right.
winter. Like you get months of like rain where we are, and then as soon as spring hits,
Yeah.
and then it just gets like blazing sun. So all the water's stored in the ground, and things just pop. Like as soon as the sun comes out.
Right.
And, yeah, but then things get too hot by the end of the summer,
Yeah.
and things are dying, and then the rain starts again, and it's like, yeah, things grow again. It's really, really interesting, that cycle. Yeah, it's really beautiful as well. This connection,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have had this connection with the land. It would have just been another business. It was, very sort of a business thing,
Right.
Is how it started.
Uh-huh.
And I think just in this like time when I was becoming more like in touch with myself and the earth, like when I went to stay there, like it was like, oh right, no, this is a land that we're really lucky to have, that's got its own life and personality, and we can do different things on this.
Yeah, for sure. When we got here, we couldn't believe our eyes. It took us months to kind of fall into the idea that wow, all these forests and rivers and just land. This is like ours to take care of. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And it's just exploring new paths is crazy. It's like I feel as an adventure. Like we found. You told me also that we found this waterfall 1 year after we moved here, following the river, and we never did follow it so far.
Yeah, it's a good walk. Like
Yeah.
the river.
And you also found something like a
yeah, but it was ridiculous at our land because it's 2 minutes walk, and we didn't find it for 4 years.
Wow.
Because it was so overgrown.
Yeah.
And we could hear something, but we didn't realize how deep this pool was. Yeah. And there was actually some guys staying there. Like I put up on Facebook, like for a winter, I was like, does anyone want to come and stay in this house? And I need all these jobs doing. It's just an exchange,
Yeah.
And there was this group of like 5 like guys from Lisbon that threw parties.
Yeah.
Like that were it was COVID, so there was no parties, and they were just kind of looking for some healing actually, and some like nature, know. And I met them on Zoom, and they came and took over our house for like 4 or 5 months. And it was them that cut it all back and discovered this place. Yeah. I actually ended up I got back, and I sort of said after 2 weeks that you can like move on, and like but we'll stay together for 2 weeks, and then there's 2 weeks, like I just really made close friends, and I was like, do you want to stay? And they were all like, yeah, we'll stay. And they stayed with me. We lived in like this little community for like 5 months, and it's like 2021, the year after COVID, and they helped me finish the house.
Nice.
As well, so we finished it, and with this new plan of it becoming like a retreat center. Yeah, and one of them introduced me to Michael and Geza,
right?
Who've been here at El Vega.
That's how we got to be acquainted.
Yeah, through Michael and Geza. So and they needed a space to run their retreats, and they brought the Honeyquin tribe from Amazon to do their shamanic work, and so like I'm there in 2021 with some shamans on our land, just going, how did this happen? Like what?
You used to be a realtor.
This was like supposed to be like we were gonna do a music festival here, like we were gonna do a music festival and people come do the art, and like somehow now there's like shamans here, so really, really wild. I kind of feel like I said this a few times. I feel like I was like kind of used by the universe, Like I didn't really know. I didn't know what was going on, I just knew I wanted to finish it, and I wanted to finish it to like we persuaded. I'd written a plan for a lot of my friends that were different artists to put money into this project, and I just felt so guilty. It'd been so long. We'd had all these problems, the fire and running out of money and some mismanagement and stuff. And I was just like, I've got to finish this place and just make it into something. Exactly. If we're not going to sell it, we need to make it into something. And like this was the initial driver, and And then then the next year there's just like ayahuasca retreats happening, and people's lives are being changed, on this land, and every person that comes is like, this land is healing. This land is special, like just the feeling that you get when you're there, and this is the feeling that I got when I needed it in COVID when I was there. Like it was like, wow, like there's a vibe there, like same as here, there's a vibe here that's that powerful. Yeah, man. So I was yeah. So like now I kind of look back and I was like, wow, what happened there? Like, like, yeah. I was like, it wasn't my prime focus. This project wasn't my prime focus.
Yeah.
Like, music's always been my prime focus, and like, and my kind of my leading passion.
Yeah.
Right. And so this was like, there's no concerts can happen. COVID's happened, so let's do this for a bit. And yes, it's kind of wild.
It's kind of like loosening up the wheel, the control, and seeing where life takes you, and finding this
self-driving car.
Yeah, and it also requires trust, right?
Yeah.
And even with all this story that you tell about the anxiety, I also see that you trust a lot in you, in something further. I don't know. How is your relationship with this, like, trust of, I don't know, God, or however you want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, like, none of this, it wouldn't have happened if I did not have put this advert up for these people to come and help me, right?
Yeah.
And like, and like people, like my family and some of the other investors were like, what, you're just gonna let this group of random people stay in our house, which was like, is that we'd spent a long time building it, and I was like, well, I want it to progress, and like I'll meet them and I met them on Zoom, like,
which is just like like signing a contract.
Yeah, and I was just like, what's the worst that could happen? And the best that could happen is that you make some new friends and they do all these jobs.
Yeah,
and that's what happened. Like I found out later they've been throwing big parties there, like, and like that wasn't like part of the deal, but also I didn't see any evidence of these parties,
right?
Like,
they were like good kids,
Yeah.
The kids in the house,
they did what they needed to do, but they did some sneaky.
They
did some sneaky
stuff.
And without that trust, like, and then they, like I said, I got back. They stayed with me. We became really close friends. They helped me finish the house, which I'd have had to pay more workers to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But they, I just paid for all the food, and we did a few hours work a day. Like, yeah, man. And then they introduced us to Michael and Geza. So like, I think, I think being trusting and just seeing where it goes is nice. And I think also this lack of like if this was the only thing I was doing, and I was trying to overly manage it, if I was trying to be too anal about every part of the project, then I might have really worried about letting people in the house, because what might happen. But like, because I kind of felt a bit distanced from it, and I just kind of wanted it to, like, we were thinking about selling it, so it was almost like anything's a bonus, if we can get this going. And that lack of like that sort of like taking my hands off the wheel a bit and just seeing what happened, like, really worked. Man. Never thought about that. It's super nice to process this in my head while we're speaking.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, give it another, like, whoa.
Yeah.
For sure. That was also happening to me when I left the city, let's say, and went up backpacking, and I didn't know exactly what I was looking for. So I wasn't like looking for something specific, but I was more knowing, well, I don't want to live in the work life 9 hours, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that the city is like giving me, or my parents are telling me, or my friends are doing. So I was like, okay, let's see what's also there.
Yeah.
So I just like left backpacking, and I started like also seeing what I liked, what I didn't. So I was like, okay, I like more the mountains than the beach, for example,
Yeah.
So I was more into the mountains and like living.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly exploring myself. So then I found out about meditation, and I found out about plant medicines. And first, just speaking with people, not going right into okay, give me some glass of ayahuasca, but just like okay, sharing with people that already be there, and like listening to them and seeing how they inspire me, how I want to be like him, like or I really like her, like they have this wisdom or they have this like connection to life. So I was like, oh yeah, so they are doing that. I would like to try it, and also finding out about community life, that I was completely unaware of. I kind of lived with 10 siblings and my parents, right? So that was like a 13 people's home, but yeah, like seeing a community, how it worked, and how people came and supported and left, and that everyone brought something with them, like we all grew together with any visitor, and that's what happens here as well. Like that's why I'm interviewing you as well. It's like just like everyone has their own like gift to support, and also like it was like wow, I really would like to live this way. I want to also to have other people to share how they see me, how can I get better, like push each other or support each other to grow.
Yeah.
That for sure was one of like the main reasons why I want to live in a community. I think even the way we started, it wasn't about having a community. It was about exploring ourselves. We didn't think about making a community until we were already living together, cooking together, sleeping together. No, that one.
Getting rest together.
Getting rest together. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's it's so beautiful, that right? It's like you were searching, and all these different blocks and these ideas were coming together, and then I love this concept of like that the golden thread. You're like following the golden thread where like there's something that excites you or sparks your curiosity that you were following, right? Yeah, and it just sort of like if you just follow this, then it leads you somewhere, and it led you all living together, and then this was born. It's like,
exactly.
It's awesome.
And also traveling, I kind of realized that in a let's say in a non-organized life, when you don't have okay from this to this, from this time to this time, I work from this time to this time. When you have all these schedules, this golden thread can get lost, right? Because there's no space for the discovery, for the unknown, for the I don't know what's gonna happen next. And I don't mean like everyone needs to go out traveling, right? But how I found it, and also it can also be like a distraction traveling so much. It's like looking for water but just digging half a meter. At some point you need to just trust in one of the wells. Dig. So it's both, right? It's like it's a balance. It's a dance.
But I think you're right though, when like your life's and I've experienced this a lot, like where your life's so scheduled, and you like push yourself and make yourself stick to this schedule, then you are missing out like a lot of the time. There needs to be like space for flexibility and diversions to follow it.
And I was able to find that also in living in Buenos Aires, right? I would go to full moon drum circles, in the park, or to these cultural centers that you spoke, like similar to this warehouse, right? It's just artists living together, sharing, making party, and like finding people also, that are similar. They have this kind of this hunger, for okay, what is life? It's not like this square schedule that you're given.
Yeah. There's different ways.
And also that's how I see everyone, like all the members of the community and all the visitors as well. It's like there's this hunger. There's like, okay, what's more? That's why we all left our countries and our homes. And we made this place our home.
And you're here,
We dig. Deep,
really deep. I really love spending time in this community, and like seeing community life, because it's like for me, from from like a longevity and sort of sustainability point of view. Like I'm always kind of keeping tabs on like what's going on with the climate and the earth, and I think it's necessary for the future, like community life, to localize everything, and because shit's gonna start collapsing at some point, that's what I believe. And there's different things that could happen, but like this was like one of the main reasons why I visited a few communities. I think here I've come more for healing, but yeah, just being in community spaces is just like, oh wow, this is so nice. It's so
and it's something very primitive, right? It's
exactly.
That's where we came
so
from.
real.
That's where we came from.
Yeah,
and
we're supposed to live in these small bands of 100 people ish,
Exactly, where everyone knows everybody and they take care of their kids, and that thing just went away with the not the French Revolution, but the Industrial Revolution, right? Where everyone just started going to the cities because there was like factories and work to do, But it's like we have it completely ingrained.
It's primal. It's like looking at a fire, right?
Like
there's something just in you that's just like, oh wow, I've been doing this for millennia,
The elders also from the tribes here, they say like when you look at the fire, your ancestors are looking back. So when you speak to the fire, speaking to them. I see it like that. Also living in community. I see it like that. And like I have some finishing questions. To hear. So this one I really like that I made up. And it has two parts, right? So if you could go back to your childhood, and meet your younger self and your parents, what would you like to tell them, your parents?
This is very alive right now because we've just been doing all this work, this week. I'd tell them to please just stop worrying or putting their worry on me and just play with me more. Both of them.
And what would you like to tell yourself?
Start learning Spanish now.
Say it in Spanish.
Hablar español. Poquito los. Just that you're enough and you'll always be enough. Just as you are. That'd be a nice thing to ingrain.
And now, if you could teach anything, one thing to the whole humanity, what would that be?
Wow. Teach anything. I think to grow your own food. I think it's. I see this as the big problem that we'll face.
Right.
With the climate.
Yeah, and also I feel it deeper than just like the practical, but it's like a connection.
Spiritual.
A connection with the food, with the Mother Earth.
1000%, yeah. Like you're communing with God while you're like digging in that soil and kicking it, you're birthing something from the earth and put your fingers in it.
Yeah, I love also going with my kids to collect tomatoes, and it's like such an amazement to them and to me. Like, wow, we have a tomato that came from this plant that we planted, and
it never gets old.
No.
It never gets old. Like when we were living in Portugal in this community, we were growing a lot of food, and this is the first time I'd had this experience, And it's like when one of my friends is pregnant or just had a kid. It's like your mind's blown every time.
Yeah.
And there's 8 billion of us on the planet now that we're all brought like this, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like it's uncommon, you know, but
Uh-huh.
it still blows your mind. And like, you know, on like a similar level, it's like I grew this just with a seed and some water, and it comes from the sun, and then I can eat it, and it's delicious, you know.
Uh-huh.
But like, yeah, so it's like it's a win-win because it's. I think this is what the world needs because I think it's going to be the big problem, and it already is, and it already is the big problem because we're eating garbage, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's that,
Yeah.
and then there's like with like food insecurity comes all the other problems, you know. Like when people have not eaten for 3 days, they turn into a different thing, you know. And like I think yeah, people to be able to have the skills and the access to land and water to do that, it'd be revolutionary, you know. And start this like decoupling of like relying so much on the state and supermarkets, and get in touch with them.
It's a really nice one. Really complex, simple answer, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for these questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I have two more.
Wow. Okay. Yes. Come on.
So what do you feel you are taking with yourself from the experience of being here in the community?
Um, I think like more ease with myself. Um, less less pressure on myself that like the things that I'm working through are kind of all on me, you know.
Yeah.
And that like it's all from me. It's not, you know. There's a lot. There's a lot of threads, you know, that make up who we are. Like there's a lot of different things that come in. So I think this realization and and some of the stories that came up in the doors, you know, I'm taking these with me, and like I'm looking forward to like talking to my parents and opening up this conversation, you know, which is like it can't go anywhere but like somewhere deep.
Yeah.
You know, like which is a gift in itself, you know. But I think this ease and then and that's kind of like the work side, the play side of what we've been playing with, but also just the community side of just like, oh man, like I think like communities, whether it's full time or for some months of the year, is definitely for me, you know. And and I love, I've been, like I said, I've been to a few communities on this trip, and like and I just love the realness here. Like it's just like, you know, there's no dogma.
Right.
There's no like having to follow a set of rules apart from this one prayer, right? Which is which is all you need.
Yeah.
And then just through the work that goes on, like the trust that opens up in everyone, you know, and, like the humanity. So I think this. Like I'm definitely going to be returning to Omega and take that with me, and if whatever community I end up in or live in, take some of these principles. So, quite a lot. God, I'm taking I need a bigger bag. Taking quite a lot.
They're light. No, but really, I also thank you for the visit. And as I was telling you, like you come with a gift, you know, and now I also feel like it's we love also almost like a friendship, you know, like being comfortable with each other, and we just kind of like talk and laugh and make jokes, and for sure, I feel inspired by your path as well, you know, by this impulse to go on, and almost like this belief in yourself, you know, throughout with all this pain, the anxiety, and with that, and that makes you stronger, right? It's like builds more wheel muscles, let's say, you know? Because you're
Need muscles somewhere, don't I?
Yeah. Years. Because you're such a good listener.
Exactly, yeah. Made for podcasts. These years.
Yeah. And so the last question would be like, in one word, how would you describe the community?
Real.
Okay.
Yeah. I love this word, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's so much fake.
Mm.
There's so much like, you know, it comes from all different places, from society, from like pop culture that we live in, and from hiding your feelings.
Mm. Yeah.
Like this fakeness has got so many meanings, and it's rife everywhere, you know, in our society, and it's like it blocks the joy.
Yeah, it's like a mask that doesn't allow you to see the other.
Yeah.
And also it's very it's safe. And also like this podcast's name is Authentic Journeys, right? So it's like authenticity and being real. I feel it's very vibes very similarly.
Yeah.
Right? And this, I call it authenticity, which is not like, okay, I am done and I am authentic, but it's like a journey. It's like a path that we go through and we find ourselves in our explorations. And it becomes more real if we allow it, you know? Yeah, so, and also this definition that I really like from Gabor Mate about authenticity, which is just allowing and expressing the emotions that want to come.
Yeah.
You know, that's it. It's not as complicated as like being the best of blah blah blah. No, it's more about just showing myself how I am.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and it creates like a path. You know?
Yeah.
It creates like a simpler path to authenticity.
Yeah, I think this word often, like, you know, it can come with this feeling of, oh, am I doing it? How do I do it? It's sort of like in this meta way of like it becomes another issue, but it's
exactly.
Not, it's just simple, like what's happening, what's going on, right? And that's it.
That's the intention also, to bring more like simplicity to all these explorations or all these like creations of the mind, you know, they're authentic, so I have to be like them. What? You're already lost. Yeah. To be authentic, I don't have to be like me, I have to be like them.
Yeah. So it's simple tricks, though, the mind, eh? Like, yeah.
We meditators know about that, right?
Ah, man, we're just so beyond that. Oh, man. Like,
lower vibration people.
I know. What are you doing, guys?
Still buy from the supermarket.
Yeah, grow your own food, man.
Well, thank you very much, Ross, for coming up and
legend. Yeah, thank you, man. Really, thank you from the bottom of my heart for vocalizing me and leading me through this process here. I'm really glad that you got stuck with me. And we've had this journey together, and you're a legend. I love how you show up. And, proper dude, and looking forward to more fun times.
Yeah, thank you. The same admiration from me to you, man. So just looking at a mirror, and I am blonde.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you. You didn't record anything.
Cool, man. You're doing it.
Yeah, it's happening. Nice.
Oh, it's nice.
Is this recording still? Yeah.